Okay, we're just gonna cover a couple of the slides that I have. First one is, what is facilitation? Bringing out and focusing the wisdom of the group, often as the group creates something new or solves a problem. What are some? Who are some examples that y'all can think of people who would be considered a facilitator?
I think teacher would be an example of facilitator, the way you coordinate and organize and generate new ideas at Women's Fellowship. I also had a British lit teacher who was a real good facilitator, and so class discussions weren't the norm. Class discussions.
So it was a teacher who played the role of a facilitator.
Yes.
When did he ever teach?
His way of teaching was to get us to think outside the box, and so what he would do, rule number one was you could never say sir, because his thing was he wanted us to see him as an equal, not as a power in the class. And so he would sit down in a circle right along with us, and we'd just start talking about whatever the assignment was, and from there we would he would say, okay, so now think about that, and what about this? And so then he would correlate the different aspects of the reading, and then we just processed it and, brought it to modern times or put ourselves in that position. So we really we learned, but it wasn't through like quizzes and things like that. It was through us analyzing it and the questions he would bring out. But it's things that we had already said, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, when you said that he wanted to be as an equal, do you think that people are more intimidated by a teacher or by like a facilitator? Not intimidated, but do you think that they...
I was, because every time I said sir, I get yelled at. So, I didn't like to see him as a power in the class. But in his thing, and I think some people do take that as a teacher cannot be seen as something more than an authoritative figure. Even though he was the authoritative figure in the class, his standard and methodology of teaching was so different that you didn't see him as a teacher.
Did you appreciate that method more than him being an actual teacher standing up in front of the board teaching, giving you a lesson?
At times, but I guess it was more so at when the whole consequential kind of thing would come up, because he didn't appear as that authoritative figure. When it came down to handing out punishments or whatever, you didn't see him as an authoritative